Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Area 51. We hope you guys liked the last episode. We got some pretty good feedback about it. A lot of folks reached out thanking us for the information and also thanking John. We appreciate the feedback. We've actually made it a point to talk about it in every episode. The more feedback we get from you guys, it actually helps us improve our content because we know what kind of stories or what kind of episodes you guys are looking for. Right, Sanjay?
Oh, yeah, for a fact. I mean, we are what we are only because of that feedback that we receive from you, our listeners. You take some time off of your day to listen to what we have to say, and we always appreciate that. And it's great to always hear back from what we're doing wrong, what we need to do better, and occasionally what we tend to get right as well. And speaking of doing the right thing, today's episode is a bit, I'd say, for the lack of better, triggering personally for me, and I'm assuming you, Rahul, as well.
100%. And I think triggering for anyone who's gone through an F1 journey. And also, even if you're a human being with emotions, it will trigger you. Let's just state it like that.
Yeah, I mean, like the sort of things that we've discussed, and the folks we have on this episode today have talked about it. It's sort of the experience that you would imagine associate someone who's trying to go to a third world country like North Korea or something like that. But this happened to, a couple of folks who were trying to move to the United States. Yeah, I have no words.
Background for our listeners, you guys all must have seen the news. The last couple of weeks, there were some headlines stating that about 15, 16 Indian students who had just come on F1 visa were about to enter US for the first time and start their fall semesters were actually detained at the airports and deported back to India without being given any actual reasons. Sanjay and I saw it. We scoured the headlines. We read as many news articles as we could, and we really couldn't find any concrete information there as to what happened, why they were stopped, did they do something wrong. So we actually came into contact with a bunch of students who actually had to go through this. They were amongst the 15 students who were stopped and sent back. We don't exactly know what happened in there, so we thought we'd talk to them and see what their experiences were and hope that folks listening to this podcast can be a little more educated on what actually happened and what the students had to go through and how they're dealing with it right now. So welcome, guys. For all of the listeners tuning in, we've got Balaji and Manisha, who were two of the students who were actually detained when they arrived at US at one of the airports when they're about to pursue their masters. They were actually detained, and without really giving them a lot of explanations, they were deported back to India. We've seen a lot of articles, a lot of speculations out in the news, putting out random facts or not even trying to get to it. So we all wondered what the actual story was and trying to get to the bottom of it. And we've got an opportunity to do so because Balaji and Manisha have been super brave. They've been willing to actually come and tell us and share the horrific experiences that they went through. So thanks for coming in, guys. And we've also got John again on another episode. That's right, guys. You guys liked the last episode so much, we got John back again. I think at this point we should just call him one of the members of the podcast. But we've got John as well to see if there's anything we can do to help Balaji and Manisha and anyone else in the same problem. So thanks to everyone for calling in, and let's get started. You guys want to start off with a quick round of introduction, Balaji and Manisha?
Yeah, sure. So, hey guys, so myself Balaji Srinivasaswamy. I'm from Bangalore, India. So I've been born and brought up in Bangalore, and I'm a mechanical engineering graduate, and I've been working in Volvo since, as a material controller. But then recently, I quit my job to pursue my masters in US in St. Louis University in aerospace engineering. As you guys know, all of this news I've been hearing regarding the recent detention. So this is what has happened so far in my life.
Yeah, so hi, myself Manisha. So even I was working in Volvo for like from past 1.5 year in Volvo itself, and I quit Volvo to pursue my masters in mechanical engineering in St. Louis. So basically, I have done my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and so far we had plans of pursuing masters, and we ended up back in India. So that's about me.
Every time I hear St. Louis, I keep looking at Sanjay because I don't know if you guys know, because St. Louis is actually very, very close to for me and Sanjay because we both went to universities right by there. It was part of the Missouri system. When you guys said St. Louis, first time I read the article, and even now, every time I hear the word, it just hits so close to home. And I just keep looking at Sanjay. I was like, it's just unfortunate that happened at that that university, because SLU, it's actually a very reputed university. A lot of times you hear that there are universities that hold these scams and, you go there and you get deported. And it's not something we come to expect out of SLU, because that's actually a very reputed university. It's pretty famous in St. Louis. We've known people who've gone there. Yeah, it just hits too close to home when we hear you guys say St. Louis University. Right, Sanjay?
It's crazy. Like, you folks are like, folks with like work experience and actually coming for a master. It's not like, you're trying to like work around the system for your advantage. And you genuinely decided to like literally end your careers in India and take a shot at, getting better credentials with, the US education system. And it's very unfortunate that you had to go through this. And I wanted to like thank both of you, Balaji and Manisha, once again for, coming on the podcast and reliving the nightmare that you had to go through. Thank you so much for that.
Do you guys want to take us through how it was once you left India and once you landed? Could you take us through that, please?
Yeah, sure. Manisha, would you like to start, or we'll do it part by part?
Yeah, it's okay. We can do part by part, because see, the experience what we both had was similar itself, because we both started a journey together from India. So from Bangalore, we both started our journey. So we can just do it like part by part. So we can go ahead, Balaji.
Yeah. So the thing is, we started our journey in Bangalore on 14th early morning. That's 1:20 a.m. flight. So our flight itinerary was, we were going from Bangalore to Paris to Atlanta, and Atlanta to St. Louis. So Atlanta was our port of entry, so where the immigration check was supposed to happen. We had an amazing flight from both Bangalore to Paris and Paris to Atlanta. But then Atlanta, when we reached around 12:30. We landed, I guess. So by the time we came in, had the basic security check. Like, there's a person in the glass box, a police officer who will be checking our documents. So I just went in. He just asked me my passport. So he just asked me a few basic questions like, where are you from? Why have you come to US? And I just answered him accordingly. I've come to pursue my master's. Since he asked which university, which course. So those three basic questions he just asked me, and then later he asked Manisha as well, was the same questions. And then we just answered the same thing. She also answered, because it was the same college, but hers was a different course in mechanical. Once we answered those questions, he was just going through our passport, and then he'll be like, okay, you all have to go through an immigration check, so just wait here. And he put our passports in two transparent envelope leaves, and he called in a police escort and said that you just follow him, he'll take you to the immigration check area, and from there you'll be guided. So the escort guy came, and we went. There was a huge room, like a immigration room, where all types of immigrants had come, and it's aging from small kids till old senior citizens. So when we went in, they just escort instructor was telling that, just wait here, your name will be called, only then you can come out. Until your name is called, don't come out, is what they told us. We were like, okay. We were waiting, and then we were just waiting, and then first Manisha was called, so she will tell what happened with her.
So before I just wanted to, like, before I go there, like, do both of you know each other before you, like, moved to the US?
Yeah, we both were employees in Volvo, so we were like colleagues.
Okay.
We met each other at Volvo. So Manisha had actually tried to go to Germany initially, and then I was applying for US, and then I told her, okay, this is how US thing and all, and she's like, okay, because she also said, okay, I'm interested in going to US, and we both, from there we became close friends, and now we just started to go together to US. We applied to the same colleges, and luckily we got this college and together, so we just flew together.
Yeah. So as he said, like, the entire thing was same until we come into that room. So there the officer called out my name first, and I went there, and he asked my I-20. So I gave him the I-20, and then his first question was like, what is the purpose of visit? I told him my purpose of visit is to pursue my master's in mechanical engineering. Then he was like, why did you choose this university? I told him I chose this university because we get a great curriculum, and we get a nice education system here. For example, we get to choose our own subjects, and also we get a chance of taking subjects from different department, like management side, or different computer science. We have that flexibility in choosing our own curriculum. So I told him, and then he asked my funding. Then I told him, yes, I've sanctioned a loan of 35 lakhs from Incred. And then he asked, like, have you paid tuition fees? I said no. Then he like, why didn't you pay tuition fees? I told him that we had a a pre-arrival session from SLU itself, where she specified us not to pay tuition fees until unless we reach US. So I told him, because we had an confirmation from the university side saying that there's no need to pay tuition fee until unless we come to US and attend the orientation. So he was like, no, I can't take this. You haven't paid the tuition fees. You have not come here to study. You've come here to work. I gave him all kinds of documentation stating that I have loan sanction of so much worth, and even show him my CA letter stating that we are worth of so much, dollars that we can pay tuition fees easily. But he was like, no, you have not paid tuition fees. Then another officer came. As soon as he came there, he just took the I-20 and he was like, oh, St. Louis University. So then he just stated like, these guys gonna have a pretty bad day from my side. Like that's how he stated that.
In front of you.
Yeah, exactly in front of me. Even I was kind of surprised. So I just felt like, okay, this person is really going to send few people. Like we thought we were gonna have a bad day. We didn't imagine that they'll send us. First of all, I thought it would be a very bad day for us.
But Manisha, quick question there. You had an approved bank loan, and then you showed them that paper saying that we've got it approved for our education. Even then.
Exactly. Yes, I had shown him the sanctioned loan, which I had also carried. With that, I provided him the bank's statement from my parents' side, and also the CA letter stating that we have so much net worth in India with respect to dollars also. So I gave him all that, but then he didn't. And then I even provided him a mail confirmation stating that, see, this has been dispersed. The amount has also been dispersed, was around 14 lakhs in Indian currency. It's been dispersed. So he was like, no, you haven't paid the tuition fees.
No, so I just want to provide some context to our audience, before we go further. My understanding, Rahul, correct me if I'm wrong. My experience is like typically you pay the fees only once you register for classes, like at the university. And
that's right. I paid after coming here.
Yeah, the same for me. So the idea is we go in, we register, we attend the student orientation, and even if you want to talk to some of the professors, because this is a grad level course, and so our understanding is that you talk to some of the professors, understand what the coursework is, and then go ahead and register for your classes and pay whatever fees needs to be paid.
Because even though you have to take a minimum of 3 subjects, you have the option of taking more than 3. So if you want to take 6, 7, your semester tuition goes up. So the expectation is that as soon as you register your classes and by the time orientation is done, you finish the payment. So the information that the universities gave you, Manisha and Balaji, is actually pretty accurate. That's what is expected. You did not break any rules there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why, but they did that to us. And as I said, another officer came, and then he was like, again, he asked me the same question. So why did you? He asked me like, how many universities had you applied before? I told him I had applied for Arizona State University, and then St. Louis, and University of New Haven. So in all the 3, actually, I got admission also for all the 3 universities. I was admitted, but I got the offer letter. Yeah, but I chose St. Louis. One reason is we got the scholarship. He's like, why did you choose? So when I checked for Arizona State University, see, we basically people from middle class, so we usually see the price also, right? Tuition fees and all. So it was around $62,000, and SLU was $42,000. So I chose. With that also, I got a scholarship of 5.5K. Scholarship was also provided from SLU. And with that, I had curriculums like which I was interested in, like additive manufacturing, production system. So I'm a person who wanted to pursue something into supply chain and manufacturing. So SLU was providing me this kind of curriculum, which I was looking forward. So I told the exact same thing, stating that, see, this is the reason why I chose SLU. Then he was like, no, you have not chosen for this. You just came here to just work here. You didn't come here to study. You got a just student. And then later he called Balaji. When I was standing there itself, he called Balaji. Balaji, you can continue your experience with respect to that.
Yeah. So basically, after Manisha went in, after 15-20 minutes, I was called. So as soon as I went in, he just asked my passport, and as soon as he took my passport, the first question he asked was like, what is the purpose of your trip today, and why have you come to US, and which university, and which course, and all that. So I explained to him I've come to US to pursue my master's in aerospace engineering in St. Louis University. And then he was like, why did you choose this university? I said I had applied for 3 universities, out of which I felt among these 3 the best was St. Louis University, because one reason is because my dream goal is to become a pilot, and St. Louis also offers a flying school with FAA certified accreditation. So that's one advantage. And also the curriculum basically which St. Louis offered, the course structure was so good where I could, even though I was going in aerospace, I could take subjects from mechanical and also other streams which I felt was required for the aeronautical field. And also they provided me a scholarship of around $5,500, and I heard it's one of the most oldest and reputed institutions in Missouri. So that's the reason I took it. I told him, and then he was like, "Okay, just wait a second." And he was just checking something on my this one, and suddenly he was like, "Give me your phone." I was just shocked, like, okay, like when someone randomly asks you something, phone. I never expected you would ask my phone. Alex, your phone? He's like, "Yeah, just give me your phone." I was like, "Okay, you can take it." And he asked me to unlock my phone. I unlocked it and gave it to him. And then he was like, unlock your WhatsApp." So I unlocked my WhatsApp and I gave it to him. Then he was like, "Okay." He was just checking through my phone and all. I was just waiting there. And then he was like, "Okay, you guys." He told me and like the other guy beside Manisha, who was initially taking the interview for her, he just slipped on two papers to me and Manisha. It was a slip stating that the immigration at US, Atlanta immigration, have the right to check all of our phones, laptops, or any documents they desire to, and that they have the authority to do so. And if we do not comply with it, then it'll be a problem for us. So I was like, "Okay, fine." And then he was like, "Are you guys sure that you are not indulged in any illegal activities or any illegal intentions to enter US? Are you sure? Because if you lie now, henceforth, if you lie, it'll be a problem for you." I'm like, "No, sir, we have no intentions other than to come and study and pursue my master's. That's the only reason why I've come to US, nothing else." So he was like, "Okay, fine, think twice and answer, because if you lie, you will be in big trouble." Like, "Oh, no, sir, we are definitely telling the truth." And then later he told Manisha to go back and sit in the room, but he asked me to sit outside the room. There's a small waiting area, like just in case the room was overfilled and then some people could sit outside. He made me wait and sit outside. So I was just watching there, like I was the only person who was getting the access to see what was happening with everyone other than us. So when we went in, we too were the first Indian students who came in. After that, one by one, all the Indian students were coming in for the immigration check. So by the time we ended, like our all of those things ended, there were 14 to 15 people other than us. But when we both came in, we were the first two Indians who came. So I could see everybody was coming in and what all interview was happening with interrogation or interviews that were happening with the immigration officers.
Quick question. All of them were SLU students?
No, among the 15 people, I think 5 were non-SLU, other 10 were SLU.
So before Balaji, before you can continue, I just wanted to like get in John's opinion on something. Like, is my understanding correct that an immigration officer can ask for, your phones and go through something like your WhatsApp messages legally? Is that legal?
Yeah. So when you're coming through the port of entry, so the thought of having somebody demand, your papers and your personal effects to just randomly rummage through them is pretty offensive to most people. If you're in the U.S. already, if you've made it through the port of entry, they have to get a warrant to do that. But the rules of the port of entry are different. So you're allowed to inspect things before it comes into the country. And so, yes, they can. Now, if you have a family member FedEx your phone to you and FedEx your computer to you, you might avoid that whole situation.
Okay. But then I guess like we are so dependent on phones these days. Like I think it'd pretty much be impossible to do that. Yeah, at this point in time.
All right, Balaji, let's pick up where you stopped.
Yeah. So basically, when he sent me back to sit in the outside waiting area, well, my Manisha was sent back to the immigration room. So being outside, I could see all the students coming into the immigration room and going and having their interviews with the immigration officer and then going back to the room. So what I could see was that what was happening with us was similarly happening to other Indian students as well. So, and at the same time, I could see various taunts I was receiving from the immigration officer, where he used to stare at me, he used to give an eye stare. See, I would just be seeing the immigration panel, what is happening there. But every time, by any chance I looked at him, he would be looking at me. So it's like he was wantingly trying to taunting me through his eyesight or something like that. So that was like very harsh for me to go through. Like he was staring at me non-stop and he was just checking what was I doing every time. My entire interview, everything happened through one guy itself. Basically after that, later he called me again after half an hour, or I think half an hour, 1 hour time. He just called me back. He's like, "Balaji, come here." So I just went in. So what was happening was, because I was outside, I could see what was exactly happening. Like I said before, every person whose interview was cleared or when the immigration check was done, they were giving back their passport along with the white sheet of paper, A4 size sheet of paper. So when I went in to the panel, he just told, "Wait 1 second," and he went to grab a sheet of white paper. So I thought, okay, finally no problem is going to happen. He's going to clear my passport and send me to US. US. But then, to my complete shock, he's just giving me a piece of paper with the sheet written with the information written saying that we find that you're not a legitimate student to enter the United States, and there's a chance we might not agree your admission to the United States, and there's a chance you might or might not be barred to enter the United States for 1 or 5 years. So I am like completely shook to my nerves. Like, what is actually happening? Is this even real? He's giving me a paper saying that there is a chance they might cancel my visa and ban me to enter United States for 5 years. I am like, he's just told, read this piece of paper and then come back to me. I was so shocked, like, what is happening and all that. And then later he's like, go there and read. So I just went there back to my seat and I was reading the paper. And then again, I went back to him, sir, I have read it. Then he just asked me, hey, did you understand whatever is there in the paper? Like, yeah, I understood, sir, but what is happening? I'm not able to understand. I'm completely shocked. It says my documents are not right. And it's also say the statement telling that you do not have documents with legal proof or legally attested. So we don't find you admissible to enter the United States. I'm like, sir, it's mentioning that the documents are not right, but I can show you all my documents. It's all legally attested with proof. But he was like, just answer whatever I'm going to ask. I don't want to hear anything else. I'm like, okay, sir. And then he's like, raise your right hand. So basically, you know how it happens, a trial in a court, like you swear on a book or just raise your right hand and take an oath telling that what I'm going to say is the truth. So that's how it's happened with me. So I was standing there with my right hand raised up telling that whatever I say is going to be the truth. And if I lie, it will be used against me and I'll be in trouble. So basically, this was an interrogation interview. So whatever I say, depending on my answers and how I speak, they shall decide if they want to take me in or not, like a second chance, like a background check type. So in this interrogation interview, basically he started asking me questions from my birth, like till I came to US. Like, where was I born? What's my parents' name? What are they doing? What is my full name? Where did I go for schooling? Then where did I go for my high school? Where did I go for my college? Where did I do my engineering? Everything from detail. It was almost a half an hour, this interview. And then later he again asked me the same questions. Okay, why have you come to US? So again I answered the similar way, telling that I've come to US to pursue my master's in aerospace. Like, why did you choose St. Louis University? I told, sir, like I said earlier, I chose it because among the 3 colleges I'd gotten admit for, this was the best university which offered me a scholarship, and this course structure was so good I could choose subjects from different streams, but the other 2 universities didn't allow me to do that. Their course was little structured and not so flexible. So that's why I chose this. Later he was like, okay, you can go sit down. I have spoken enough to you. But again, after some time, he called me back. Balaji, come here. In that interview, he showed me my phone and asked, what is this IDP chat? Because he had gone through my WhatsApp. So he's like, what is this IDP chat? So I explained him what IDP is basically a consultancy. It's one of the high educational consultancy which helps students pursue their dreams abroad. So I got to know about it from my cousin sister who went to Australia through IDP. She told it's very good. They guide you in the right way possible. So you don't have any problems with visa or anything like that. So that's why I went through IDP. So it's one of the most recognized institutions, educational consultancy in India. It helps in students to shortlist the perfect university for the student and then help with the admission process, help with the visa process, and so basically it will be a smooth experience for us. So that's the reason I took IDP, I told him. And then later he was like, so did they prepare you for any interview? Because he had checked my chat with my personal consultant, and in the group as well, she had shared a document of questions which are the most plausible questions which could come. So he's like, what are these questions? What is this document? I said, so this is the material provided by IDP which says the most possible questions that can be asked in an interview. So that's why I went through it. He's like, so were you coached for an interview? I said, yes, sir, I was coached for an interview. They just prepared us for it, just like how you prepare for any job interview or any interview basically in your life. So I just prepared for that because US interview is one of the hardest, visa interview is one of the hardest to crack. So that's why I wanted to go through the consultancy. So like, do you know it's against the immigration law to be coached for an interview? I'm like, sir, I wasn't aware because most of the people I know who are already in US are also gone through IDP, and many other countries also they go through IDP and other consultancies. And irrespective of IDP providing us the document, these materials are available on Google, Quora, YouTube, because my friends who didn't go through a consultancy got these questions from YouTube.
Literally every forum online has these questions.
That's what I told him. Other than IDP, there's so many other alternatives which has these questions and all that. Suddenly he got extremely furious and he's like, you're actually a fraud. He started shouting on him. I'm like, sir, I was like, what is even happening right now? He's like, you're a fraud. You have been coached for an interview and they have taught you to give scripted answers and lie so that you can just clear the interview and enter the US. That's what you wanted to do. You have just tried every possible thing to enter the US, and now you have come here to work, not study. I'm like, sir, I'm telling you, I don't have to work because I have a bank loan of 50 lakhs. That's in Indian rupees. So my course costs only 35 lakhs. In that, I've got a scholarship of 5 lakhs. So that's just 30 lakhs. And I have an on-campus job also of $1,000 per month. So I'll be saving money from that. And with that only, I can cover my living expense. And I also have 20 lakhs extra. So I don't have to work outside. Then he was like, why have you joined this SLU Handshake? So SLU Handshake is basically a small portal in SLU where they provide us internships and also connect us with the employers. So this was told told to us in the webinar, like the last webinar we had before we came to US with the St. Louis University dean. So with her, she told that you can join this, it will help you. So in that portal, I applied for an internship on project management, and I got that internship as well. It was an online internship, and they also offered $1,000 micro scholarship. So basically, what if I completed internship, I would be paid $1,000 and it would be reduced in my fees automatically. So I told him, sir, this is how dedicated I am to complete the course. If I wanted to work, I wouldn't be going for all these internships and all that. So he's like, no, I don't trust you. You have just come here to work. I don't want to hear anything. So like, please, sir, I can show you all the documents. Every document I have is ready with me. If you ask me any document, I'll give it to you. But he didn't check any of my documents. He was not at all ready to check anything. And I later suddenly he was like, have you paid the university? So he asked me, did you register for class? I was like, yes, sir, I registered for my class. Then he's like, have you paid the university fees? I'm like, no, sir, I haven't paid the university. So you haven't paid anything to the university, he asked me. I was like, no, sir, I have paid initial deposit of $200. Like when I got the admit letter, we had to pay $200 of initial deposit to confirm our admission. Based on the, like, once the $200 deposit is paid, then you will be getting I-20 from the college. So he's like, why have you not paid the university fees? I told him, sir, in my phone, in Gmail app, there's a mail from the university itself stating that I had sent 2 mails to the university link. That first mail asking, when can you please provide me the bank details or the account details of the university so that I can pay the university first year tuition fees, because since my funding is through loan, I have to drop a mail to my bank which provides my education loan, and they will transfer the amount in 4 to 5 days when I send them the account details. That's why I sent the same mail to the university, but they said, no, Balaji, you don't have to pay immediately. Come down here, attend the orientation, and we'll guide you how to pay it. And later, second mail I asked, okay, sir, can you at least provide me the breakup as to how my scholarship will be awarded to me in each year? He's like, don't worry, Balaji, like I said in the previous mail, all this will be explained to you in the orientation. That's why you come down to the orientation, then you can pay the fees. But he wasn't ready to see it. When I told him, sir, you can just open it yourself and check the mail. But he wasn't ready. I was like, I don't want to see all that. I'm not interested. Why have you not paid the fees? How do I know that you are coming to US to study? You, with $200, you would have just to show us that you're coming to St. Louis. You can pay $200, and then once you go there, you might start working there. You might do some illegal activity. How can I trust you? The only way you can trust you that you're coming to US is to pay the fees. It shows that you're a committed student who's going to pursue his master. I'm like, sir, I wanted to pay. That's what I'm trying to explain. I wanted to pay. That mail says I wanted to pay, but I didn't have a provision to pay. There's no, without any bank details, I cannot pay directly, sir. So like, how did you pay the $200? And so for that, they provided a link. So in that link, but in the first year tuition fees, how to pay, how much to pay, like how is the scholarship, they have to provide the breakup, and then I can pay the fees, sir. So he's like, no, I don't care about all that. You just go back and sit in your place. And later, when I went back to sit in the outside waiting area, he's like, go inside. So that time I went inside, and after some time, Manisha was called. So she'll continue.
I'm trying to understand the series of events that happened here. So one, like Rahul and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong anywhere. My understanding is that it seems like some US immigration officers seem to think that if you get a student visa and enter the US and then you literally just start working, that you can just get a job like walking into the US and doing whatever you want to do without facing any sort of consequences. I know, Balaji, you had mentioned this portal that you had mentioned called Handshake for internships. Handshake is a very popular job portal for college students all over the US. I think last year they had raised close to $200 million, and they're valued at $3.5 billion. It's a very normal way for folks to look for internships. And as a student, legally on F1 visa, you are allowed to do internships. That's why the CPT and OPT programs are available. That's part of, how that particular visa is been set up. And so my thinking here is that there seems to be this very aggressive form from the officer's perspective to make sure they find some particular statement from this student that says, hey, you have no intention of studying and you're coming here only to work.
And in this case, they used Balaji's diligence against him, because Balaji, I'll be very honest, not a lot of people are as diligent as you have been, because you got an internship before coming. You've checked out all the portals that you can do for this. You had on-campus job. You had scholarships. So, and he'd actually sent multiple emails. So he has documented proof stating that he's checked how to pay the fees. He's asked them, give me the breakdown. These are the courses I want. How can I pay it? And he's clearly got proof from the university saying, hey, hold on. Once you guys come here and settle in, you can take care of your payments before you start classes. So it's very strange. He's checked all his boxes, shown that he's actually here to pursue an education. He's actually here to build his career, pursue that dream where he's gotten his master's, gotten a job legally. If they found a chat or something where Balaji's like asking, hey, how can I work off campus, something, I can understand. But this in this case, he's done everything by the book, and they've just like used that against him, which is just disappointing. Yeah.
And I don't understand like this perspective. Like we all know when we go to university, when you're a student, you're trying to save money, right? Obviously, everybody knows that, in university as a student, you're pretty much broke all the time. So you want to save every dollar that you can get. Yeah, that's by working jobs or getting scholarships or whatever. And that's no different for an international student or somebody who's in state or local. Like, it's been the same anywhere in any part of the world, I think.
I did have a question for John, actually. Is it illegal for you to get assistance on how to prepare for your interview questions? Because it's a very common norm. Forget internationals, even here, right? I know that lawyers help people out by helping them prep for interviews and stuff. Is that illegal?
No, not at all. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But unfortunately, when we're dealing with people at the port of entry at CBP, we're not dealing with the cream of the crop of America, right? They're not highly educated. They don't understand the university system. And so they assume anybody coming to the country is coming for an illegal purpose. And they misconstrue and don't understand basic facts that university life, the people in university life go through. And so they're making these wild accusations based on no understanding or no comprehension of how the world works.
And this is after a first round of checks that the student has to go through during their visa interview at the consulate back in India itself. That is again after a first check where they actually get admitted to a university and they have to generate a new I-20, which means, putting whatever information about the student on a service portal that's connected with USCIS. So there's already 2 or 3 rounds of checks already been placed before they've landed in the United States physically. But yeah.
So yeah, the floor is yours, Manisha. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so as Balaji said, we, before coming to SLU itself, me and Balaji had spoken to our HODs also who are working in SLU. First of all, we had got $10,000 scholarship. We both had also joined project management, which was for me in August 21st, was my starting of that internship thing. For him was somewhere around September. And with that, we had spoken to our university HOD and a few professors who were very quite close to us. We even went and picked up one of our professors from Bangalore airport. He had come to Bangalore from US.
What?
Yeah. So we both went and picked him up, and he stays near Balaji's house itself. So we basically went, picked him up from the airport, and then we went to his house. We spoke for some time, how to pack. So that's how close we were with the professors.
Wow, there's proactive, and then there's you guys on top of that.
This is a whole different level. At this point, if Rahul and I were entering through Atlanta, for sure, we'd be the ones on the other side of the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
We actually spoke them. Yeah, we had Zoom call and all with them, and we spoke, and they even referred us to a few of the professors who were taking up for Balaji, how he's into aerospace. He spoke to one of the professor who was teaching aerospace subjects, and I spoke to one of the professor who was taking robotics. So we had such kind of conversations also. So before we came, we were actually very prepared, and yet we ended up like this. Well, as Balaji said, when he sent us before, there was a scene where he took my phone, as I said earlier. He took my phone to check the email conversation, and then looking at the email, he suddenly saw my LinkedIn account, and he was like, don't lie to me that you've come here to study or come here to work. You have a LinkedIn account. I am like, what is wrong in having a LinkedIn account? He's like, why do you have a LinkedIn account? I told him, so I was working in Volvo before, and being connected it's pretty good to be in connections with many people. So he was like, no, you have a LinkedIn account. You've come here to work. I'm like, no, I've not come here to work. I've come here to study. You have every proof. And he's like, what's your curriculum? I told all the subjects which I was basically looking forward to and which was also provided from the university. He was like, okay. And then he sent me back. Then after Balaji was called and he has his interview, and then later he called me, and then the same thing happened, like how he said the court trial thing, or raise your right hand and tell, whatever you're saying is the truth. Same thing happened to me also. You ask the same questions again over again from my name, everything. So basically when we register for the DS 160 form, right, for the visa, so whatever we put that in all 6-7 pages, the same thing, the same questions were asked. So I said the same thing. Basically I was more confident to tell him the second time. I was like, no, I'm coming to do this, So I told the same thing, entire thing again, my name, why I have come here, why did I come there, and then he asked me where did I do my bachelor's. Then he was like, give me your bachelor degree certificate. I was like, okay, fine. And then when I was giving him, he was like, I want to see how does it look in your country. So I don't know in what ways he said, but I just felt it was kind of sarcastic, because the way he told him, the face he made was like, I just want to see your the certificate, how it is there in your country. I'm like, okay. I provided him my original certificate, my bachelor's certificate. I received it. It was folded into half when I received it back. He folded my original bachelor, that is my engineering certificate, into half. So I don't know how they think that my 4 years of effort was in that one sheet. He had folded it into half. I felt so bad. I don't know why he did that. And then later he took that also. And then again he asked my I-20. I was like, sir, I had given it to you earlier. He's like, I lost it. Give me another one. He had this very bad attitude. I don't know why he did that to me. Like, I lost it. Give me another one. So I just gave him another one, which luckily I had carried another one. So I gave him that one.
Wait a second. Like, I don't know if this is a post-COVID thing, but my understanding was that the university issues, like, sends out a real, like, an original I-20 with the signature of the international student officer, like a vet signature, right? And then whoever the student is, they have to add their own. And that is what is presented at the port of entry?
Yes.
And so he said he lost that particular document?
Yeah, which I had manually signed.
That's crazy.
So he lost it after you handed it to him.
Yeah, first time when I came, as I said, the first interview when I asked him, that time he asked my I-20. So I gave the original which I had signed by myself. I had another one which was a photocopy of it. So I had carried two different documents. One, the original ones, and another one was a set of photocopies of everything which I had bought originals. So he had lost the original one. So then later I gave him another one which I had a photocopy of it. Then he saw, then again the same question, like, why did you choose this university? Why did you come here? Then I was like, see, I came here to study, came here to do my masters. And then again the entire thing was repeated. Why did you choose this? And why did you choose over that university? And the same thing was the same. Then I told him everything. Actually, I was way more confident, as I said before. I was like way too fast and confident. I told him everything. I thought probably I might do it this time. And then later he sent me back. He was like, go sit next to you, Balaji. I'm like, okay, fine. Then I sat next to him. We were just talking, and we were kind of lost, and we were like, maybe they might let us in. We were just talking with just like small hopes. Yeah, and before that, before he sent me back, I actually asked him, so can I make a call to my parents that something is going on? Because it was almost more than 8 hours, I guess, no, Balaji? Because it was more than 8 hours, almost 8 hours, because our parents, we had a next flight after 8 hours. We had to at least communicate to our parents regarding what was happening. So I told him, so can I just make a call to my parents, or at least a message would be fine that I'm here, something is going on, it might be late. It's better to inform our parents what's happening. And he was like, no, I can't give your phone back. I'm like, okay, can you do it instead of me? He's like, okay, I'll do it instead of you. And then I thought, okay, fine, he'll do it. But then ultimately I got to know he had not called my mom. I had not texted my parents that something was going on. And I had the basic right to at least talk, but he didn't give me a chance. Then we both were just talking. Then later he called both of us together. And then he just said us one thing: your visas have been cancelled and you're going back to your home country tomorrow. One shot. We started crying, started pleading. We were like, sir, you can just talk to us. We have all documents. We have all proof that we are students. We are not fake or we are not fraud. Give us another chance. We'll talk to you. We'll tell everything. You can also go through everything. He was like, no, it's done. It's better just go sit inside. That's it. The more we tried to explain them, the only thing they were threatening was saying that we'll cuff you and put you inside the cell. We were like, we'll just force you to go inside. That's how they said. Not even kidding.
John, I think you were about to chime in with something.
No, I was just taking a deep breath at how horrific this situation is.
We didn't have the basic right to explain ourselves. So even though if we explain stating what is actually it is, he's like, if you talk more, we'll cuff you, or else we'll force you to go inside.
And did they have to use physical force on you guys?
No.
Okay, thank God.
It doesn't matter what you would have said. They were bound and determined from the moment you came through secondary to return you. No matter what evidence or proof you would have had, the outcome would have been the same, which is the absolute crazy thing about this.
Isn't that a bias, John? Like a predetermined bias?
Oh, DHS having people who are biased against Indians? I can't imagine how that would work.
Well, if anybody didn't understand that John was being sarcastic. Now, what's next? Like, a student has to have like an immigration lawyer ready for them as soon as they land at the port of entry that is going to have the conversation with an immigration officer so that they don't have to go through something like this?
It actually ties into a question I was about to ask John, Sanjay. Are they allowed to make calls to lawyers, John, at this point? Are they legally entitled to a call to a lawyer?
So it's a bit of a gray area, but right now I would say CBP's position is no. You're not allowed to contact anybody once you're in that process.
Yeah, when we spoke to one of the officers, actually one among them was a lady officer. She was not like how these people behave, but she was very sweet enough. When I asked her, she said every person has that one basic right to talk to the embassy or the parents. We had a right to make a call, one call to either of the parents or embassy.
And what happened after that, Manisha?
Yeah, so after that, yeah, we broke down. We started crying. We started crying. We had tears in our eyes. Like, we are pleading. We had joined our hands together and we like, sir, please, let us talk. And then he was like, no, that's what he just said. And then we had to go inside the room. We had to just go sit there. We were literally sitting and crying inside. We didn't know what to do. We were like, we have no idea what to do. We just sat, just sitting there for a very long time. And then after a few hours or something, around 11 o'clock or 11:30 in the night, one of the lady officer came and then she took me to another room. So it's basically a cell. So I didn't know I was going to a cell. So they took me to another room. So where they will tell us to, stand like to check the entire body if you're carrying any kind of, stuff like knives or something like that, illegal things. And then she checked my entire body. And then later she made me remove my shoes, lace, and even the lace we have it in the pants to tighten up our pants, like the waist. We had to remove that, everything, my earrings, everything had to remove. And then later they put us into a cell. So there were basically like 3 cells and one huge room. So in each cell there were 2 people. So when I entered, there was one more girl who was also there. So she's from Hyderabad. So we were put in a cell. We were not given anything to eat from 1:30 till the next day.
So this was in the airport?
Yes.
Still in the airport. And how many hours had passed since you guys started your journey?
We basically left our house at 13th August, 7:30 we left, and we boarded the flight on early in the morning, 1:20. That was the flight timings. And then later to that we reached Paris, and then we came to Atlanta around 1:30ish. So when this was going on, it was 1:30 p.m. in the local timings.
So 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
This is just beyond horrific.
At what point did they stop questioning you and interrogating you? Like, what time was that?
I don't remember because we didn't have a phones also to check the time. Maybe it was like almost like 2-3 hours.
Okay. And so they had you in the cell overnight and they didn't offer you any food or anything?
Yes. So basically we were put in the cell around 11:30ish. For me, 11:30ish. So around like post 11, I had taken into a room, as I said, and then I was put in the cell. Then later Balaji was there. Balaji will continue with respect to that, his experience.
So before Balaji takes over, what was in the cell, Manisha? Like, did you guys have like your own beds, or do you have like a place to sit?
Oh, well, that is yeah, I'll tell you the entire thing. So basically, I can literally still picturize how it was if I close my eyes. It was a small room and there was a very thin mattress, like very thin mattress, baby-sized beds, and it was on the floor. And there was a washroom. Not like exactly a washroom, it was like an open commode. It was made of, it was steel, and right above the commode there was a camera, right above it. And the even worst part is there was no flush for it. The flush was outside. Whenever we had to use the washroom, we had to tell the officer if by chance if they're passing by or if anyone is sitting in the opposite room, we had to knock on the door, call them, and tell them to flush it. That's when we could use it.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds like prison.
Yeah.
If this isn't grounds for a lawsuit against these people, I don't know what else is.
They had given us to wrap ourselves a very, very thin aluminum sheet. Not exactly like a sheet. It's almost in the size of a paper. That was the thing to wrap ourselves for the cold. That's how the cell was.
It just sounds like the Biden administration is trying to take a playbook out of the Nazis' handbook. It's unbelievable. In terms of lawsuits, suing people at the port of entry, it's tricky. I would think the lawsuit that you'd want to file is challenging the fraud finding, not challenging the deportation or not even challenging the violation of rights, although you could potentially sue them in tort under what's called the Bivens theory, sue the officers individually, which is something to consider. But I think really what you want to do is you want to take all these horrific facts together and you want to put them in front of a judge and say, invalidate the fraud finding and see if we can get traction that way with the courts.
And it's actually very interesting regarding the fraud finding, John. Balaji will probably walk us through it towards the end of his story. Balaji, you wanted to add on to your experience to this?
Like Manisha said, once I was sent back into the room with Manisha, so we both were talking like, dude, what is happening? Is this even real? This sounds like a dream. I just want to wake up from it. And we're literally horrified to the core. Like Manisha has like lost hope completely. I'm trying to like build her hope, like, don't worry. And then after 5 minutes, I lose hope and she's like, don't worry, nothing is going to happen. Then I just told, dude, what if actually we get banned? What is going to actually happen? Can you even think of it? And then 5 minutes later, boom, they call me and Manisha out. They're like, Manisha and Balaji come out, and like Manisha Manisha explained about that scenario, he just told that in one statement, you're cancelling your visa and you're banned to enter the United States. Like, you have no idea the entire day how much I have cried. I don't think I've ever cried so much in my entire life. I sobbed, I pleaded everything possible. Sir, please, just one call to the university. That's all I ask. But he's like, no, the decision has been made. Just go back inside. And if you're talking, he just tell, you're banned. Do you understand it? We say something, do you not understand it? And then he was like, you're going in or going to cuff you and you'll be put behind bars or we'll be forcing you in. So that time we had no other option, but we had to go in. So we went inside, and then let me just tell you a small, like, the timeline which Manisha couldn't tell properly because she told she couldn't remember. So around 1 o'clock, 1:30, we entered the immigration room. Till 8:30 in the evening, that is when this the time they told us that you're banned. So till 8:30, no food, nothing. The only thing, there was a washroom and there was water which you could drink. No phone access, absolutely nothing interaction with the outside world or anything like that. So later they started the interrogation, the final interview, checking, like giving the DNA and fingerprints. So that's when they started calling, and Manisha was second. That's around 11. I remember the time clearly. It was 11:45 when Manisha went in. So before Manisha, there was one girl who went first. So let me tell you one more thing which you guys might not know. So what was happening outside when one by one was called? No, we didn't know, because they used to go out, talk, and come back inside, and we are not allowed to talk to each other. If they see us talking a lot, they used to come back and like just to check what are you guys whispering and all that. So later, once Manisha went, she went at 11:45. She spoke something, and then they just told her, take the belongings and come. I'm like, where is she going? We don't know, because what is happening outside, we are not allowed outside until they're called. So she took her belongings and she was sent. I was shocked. I thought, okay, maybe they let her go and now they're sending her to US. That's what we thought, because we had to board the flight at 11:45. So until 11:38, I never lost hope. I was like praying to every god possible, like, please, some miracle happens. They just send us and they can board the flight. Till 11:40 also, I had hope that maybe they might accept. 5 minutes, I can just board off. They might consider. But then when 11:45 came, I just said, okay, I'm not going to St. Louis. It's decided. But then when Manisha's happened at 11:45, I thought, okay, they're sending her to the flight. Maybe her visa, like they accepted her, they gave her a second chance, and she went off outside. Then later, one by one was being called like that, and everybody was like talking, and they were taking their belongings and going. So we don't know what is happening. We are all like so like confused. What is happening? We don't know. And then once it started 11:45, it went till 3:30 a.m. So that's 26 hours. I was the last person to be processed. And again, like I mentioned, that officer who was taunting me, so once when in between when some people are being called, he just asked, the secondary officer asked, what about this guy? He pointed me, what about this guy? So he was like, no, he's my guy. I'll handle him. Don't worry. That's what he said loudly. So I was like, okay, dude, what is this? He's targeting me or something. I'm like shocked. Then later at 3:30 a.m., I was the last guy to be processed. Literally the last guy in the room, and the entire airport, like only we can see outside, there was no one else other than me and the 4 officers. At 3:30 a.m., I was called. Then he was like, okay, your visa has been cancelled, you're being banned. So I wanted to sign these 3, you have to make these 3 signatures. One signature is that you agree that you have broken the immigration law. And second thing is that you agree that you have made a mistake. And third thing is that you shall not enter the United States again. I was like, sir, what is this happening? So he's like, see, be happy that I'm not banning you for lifetime, because you're a fraud. For what you have done, I have to ban you for a lifetime. But be lucky. I'm like, sir, like, please, sir, try to understand. If you don't sign it now, I'll be putting a lifetime ban. So please, sir. And like, see, 5 seconds. If you don't sign it, you're lifetime ban for sure. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, sir. And then he's like, okay, you're banned for life. I'm like, what is even happening? Is this even real? What is it? Like 5 seconds is deciding my fate. I'm like so confused that moment. And then he's like, sir, please, sir. He's like, just lift this lifetime ban. That's the only request put from you. He's like, okay, sign then I'll see what it can be done. So later I had to sign it. And then later I was taken into another room behind the immigration panel. So there they took my how they do the biometrics in visa, like 4 fingers and the thumbs, and then they gave a stick. So a stick was to the DNA test, a swab. We had to put it on our cheek, inside our cheek, and then has to give it to them, like rub it in the inside of our cheek and give it back to him. So apparently that is because so that we shouldn't enter United States again. And if we try to enter like impersonating someone else, or like by changing our appearance also with our DNA fingerprints or anything, we can be caught if we try to enter before 5 years. That's what they told. At that time, you have no idea. I just requested him, sir, please, I am begging you, just give me 5 minutes to talk to you, please, because this is a huge problem for me in my entire career, because I have dreamt a long-term plan in US, because I am planned to do my masters, I'm planned to do my flying, and everything is planned. If you do this, you'll be shattering all my dreams and my parents' dreams as well. It's going to be too horrifying for me. I have sold my motorcycle, that's my bike. I sold my bike because I could pay for the rent. So I sold my bike, which gave me around 1.6 lakhs in Indian rupees, and that's how I paid my initial deposits for the rent, and I put some of my money in the forex card. And then I told him my house is in under mortgage. I've taken a 50 lakhs loan and my house is under mortgage. So a lot of sacrifices, sir. Please consider talking to the superior officer once. He's like, see Balaji, either you can give me the answers which I need, or you can just waste your time and my time and waste your energy as well. And he was just making his hand sign of blah, and you can just do blah 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 blah. That's all I'm going to say. And then some other officer is like, suddenly he came, he's like, what is the delay happening? Then he's like, no sir, I'm doing it. And later I gave all the fingerprints and I understood nothing's going to work. And then he told me, take your belongings. I took my belongings, and then he took me to a room. So until then I never knew where everybody was going. Only when they went outside the room, they were getting to know. Okay, so when I went outside the room at 3:30 a.m., like when all of this happened around 4 a.m. I went. So at 4 a.m. when I went, then I saw in that room, first I see Manisha's bag outside, her cabin bag. Then I go, oh shit, so Manisha is here. She didn't go to US. I thought she actually went off. That's because I don't know what is happening. Because once the one person goes in, doesn't come inside, he just takes his belongings and goes, like follows the officer. So once I see Manisha's bag, then I see some other people's bags there. Then I got, okay, these people are in this room. Then he took me a little forward through the hallway, and then I see there's a huge room with all the guys in it. They were separated into two rooms, girls in one room and guys in one room. And I see all the 8 guys along with me who they're going to be sent back to their country. So all of them were Indians, by the way. Only we both were from Karnataka, Bangalore, and rest all of them were from Hyderabad. So all of them are there inside. So as soon as I went in, like Manisha said, we had some basic frisking. He told that I have to remove my hoodies. In the hoodie, there's a thread which he used to tighten or loosen the hood. So that he asked me to remove. He asked me to remove the lace in my shoes, and then later even in the joggers, the knot, he asked me to remove and put it out. And even my sister, actually, it's so, like, I feel so horrible to say this. My sister had tied me a Rakhi. I don't know if John knows about this. So Rakhi is a ceremony we celebrate is between brothers and sisters. So spread their love, they tie us a band as Rakhi. So that's to show our love to our siblings. So she had tied me a Rakhi because I couldn't be for Rakhi in later August, because I was leaving before Rakhi. She had tied me a Rakhi. She's like, I have to cut that also. I can't help it. She had to cut my sister's Rakhi, which was so horrifying to watch, and I was literally in tears at that time. So, and later he started frisking me properly, checking that if I have any drugs. You won't even believe, he tried to remove my sole in the shoe, thinking that I've hid something there, and he tried to touch me everywhere, like if I've hid anything possible. And then later he asked me to remove my shoes, all that. And then he asked, do you have anything in your pocket? Anything? I was like, no sir, nothing in my pocket. And he saw one mask, and like, you have to keep that also outside. And then I went inside the room, and that time I see that all the guys are there. So we are talking to them and all that. So this is more than 26 hours, no food, no phone access. And I was so exhausted by crying. And later I see that there are 8 guys and only 5 beds. When by the time I came in, everybody was settled in their places. They had chosen their places where they want to sleep. So the last 3 guys who came, one guy slept on the chair, one guy slept on the table. I tried to sleep on the table, but I couldn't. Later I had no option, but I had to sleep on the bare cold floor. And they gave us a foil paper, which is as thin as a gift wrapping paper. I had to put it on myself and sleep. And I couldn't even sleep for that long. It was so horrible. And at 4 o'clock when I went in, before I slept, they asked us, do you want food? Like when I went in, I saw people were eating there. They were being offered food. So that's when they gave us food, and they gave us to eat some chicken noodles and some pasta. So I couldn't even eat that because of this horrifying experience. Like nothing could go in. Again at 7:30 in the morning, I slept for hardly an hour. I couldn't sleep also. It was so horrifying to watch. I'm just trying to pinch myself to come out of this dream. Is this even actually happening? Like who would even expect that this would happen? I've never heard of this sort of thing happening. I've heard of people who have done some illegal things in US, like worked outside of campus and got sent back, done some crime or something like that. But we are genuine, legitimate students who have come to study and nothing else, no other intention. But later I was trying to put myself to sleep, and then at 7:30 when we woke up, they're like, you're being sent to your home country, and they said that my flight is at 3:30 in the afternoon, so be ready by then to leave. I was like, okay sir. And then 3:30 came, and at 3:30 they asked, you can go, your flight is with Manisha, you can go with her. So me and Manisha were taken to some small room, some waiting room. All 3 officers who were there last night were there sitting there, and openly in front of us they were having this conversation, telling that hey guys, he was addressing the other guy, hey, how do we keep account of this operation? Like how do we keep count of these cases, what all we have closed? Apparently other guy was like, I don't think we have to keep account and you have to show it to them, there's no other option. So the previous night when all of this was happening, I could see the superior officer, like this officer, immigration officer, superior officer, was consoling one girl, telling that don't worry, you can always purchase some other drink. I could hear a little bit, I could see him consoling the one of the girl from India who was being deported. And I thought, okay, maybe that's why I asked, can I talk to the superior officer? That's when I asked him, sir, please give me 5 minutes of time. But then the next day, like when we were waiting in the flight, that person has sent them a mail telling that great job guys, last night was a huge success. That's what they say to each other. They're literally telling it so that we could hear. So that's again a taunt. So they're speaking loudly. And then later we were sent to the plane, and the most horrifying thing was again happening there. We were escorted from every connecting flight. Like again, it was the same flight back, like Atlanta to Paris to Bangalore, and and every connecting flight we were escorted by a police officer. 2 police officers took us, like one for me, one for Manisha, took us to the Paris flight, and they didn't give us a phone or passport until then. Okay, no phone, no passport. In my envelope, there's only my passport, and Manisha's document, there was a passport and a degree certificate. So it was handed over to the chief crew member, and they told that these people are deportees and so and so, and please handle them. So the crew staff told that you go and sit in your place, and you're not supposed to deboard the plane until you're the last person. Only after everyone is deboarded, you can deboard. So I was like, okay, sir, we will do that. And in the flight also, that's when we called our parents. That's when they gave our phone to us, and we boarded the flight. And you have no idea, it was around, in Indian time, it was 1 o'clock in the midnight. I call my mom and I tell that she's not able to believe. She's like, what? You're coming back? And I started sobbing again, like losing it. When Manisha is calling her mom and parents, like what they all thought is we have reached St. Louis, but we won't have internet facility once we come outside the airport because we don't have a SIM there. They thought we have slept off and they'll call us in the morning. That's what they thought. But later when we told all of this happening, they're like, stop crying, don't worry, just come back safely. That's important. One thing is that our parents were both our families were super supportive in this, but we were so embarrassed to go home. Like, how can we show, like, I know it's not our mistake, okay, but we have said goodbye to everyone, and the next day we're coming back, sent back to our country, canceling our visa and being banned from the country. It is so embarrassing to go back. How do we show our faces to our family, our friends? It was so horrible thinking about that in the plane. So later when we came to Paris, again, after everyone deboarded, then me and Manisha were asked to come, and again, Paris, 2 police officers came. They escorted us and they took us to the customs place in Paris, customs department. So there again, we were made to wait. The layover time of 4 hours, we were made to sit there only. We're not supposed to go anywhere else. We're under their control and under their supervision. So we were waiting there again in the customs of Paris. And then again, we had to board the flight to the escort. And again, we boarded the flight to Bangalore. And now, when we came to Bangalore and we reached again, we were supposed to deboard after everyone left, and then later again one guy came. He took me to the immigration department, and this is the most horrible thing which happened with me. So when I went to the immigration, they are like, what happened? Like, what is their situation? So that person who took us, they handed these documents to us and told that they're deportees. So what I don't understand is the meaning of deportee is you enter the country, you do something wrong, and they send you back. That is deportation. But I was in a no man's land. I have not even entered US because I was not cleared at immigration. How can they call me a deportee? That's one shocked me even more. Like, what are they saying? I'm a deportee? That's completely a wrong picture on my profile and Manisha's profile. And then they're like, okay, give me the documents. And then they're like, there's no document inside except our passport. Apparently, when someone is sent back to their country, they're supposed to provide a docket with around 6 or 7 pages stating what are the reasons and that interview which happened with them, what are the answers we said, and what are the reasons they're sending us back. But that document is not provided. They're like, what is this? That immigration officer, he's the superior immigration officer in the Bangalore International Airport. So he's like, in my 35 years of experience, I have never seen any deportee being sent back without a document, that too from a country like US. They're like, how can we take them as deportees without any document? What to do? I'm like, dude, what is even happening? First US sends me back, and now my own country is telling that how do I take them back? I'm like, what should I do, sir? What should we do in this situation? Tell me. So like, no, Balaji, try to understand. They're supposed to provide us a document, when we should attach that document along with your passport saying that they were deported, and then we can let you out of the airport. Or else we can take you as a normal passenger because they have not provided us a document. But the problem is later when the Indian government or the airport check happens, and when they find that why were Balaji and Manisha sent without a deportation stamp, there also I'm thinking like, why are they even calling us deportees? I was not deported. My visa was cancelled and sent back at immigration. I was in a no man's land. And then he was like, okay, but you can't fight back, because if you fight back the case, then immigration will be held accountable. But that's one way we can help you. We can take you as a normal passenger so that you won't be held, you will be counted as a deportee. Because if I'm counted as a deportee, it will be marked in the Indian government telling that I was deported from US. So that's a black mark for my passport, a black mark for my career opportunities in India or abroad. And I want to become a pilot. That's like my dream job. Like everybody from my childhood knows me as Pilot Balaji. So I was like so shocked that passport is the most important thing for a pilot, and if there's a deportee stamp and there's a cancelled visa from US, I was so distorted at that time. And then later he was like, if you want to fight back, we can't do anything, but you have to take you as a deportee. So they took us as a deportee, and then later they put a stamp on it, and they told that we are banned to fly for 90 days out of India. Our passport is not valid for 90 days. So I'm like, okay, shit. So even if this issue gets cleared also, I cannot fly for 90. That means that I am definitely staying at home till January or something. So I just realized, okay, me going back to US I just thought, I had this hope, like maybe this thing might get sorted and it might help. So later we called my professor telling that, sir, all this happened, and he was also very furious, saying that how can they do this without informing the embassy or the university? They're not supposed to send back a student, but why are they doing this against the rule? They were very furious as to what is happening. Like Manisha said, we have been so close to the professors, like we picked them from the airport, we initiated a call with the HOD telling that we want to know all this, and then we had the meetings. Before we go in, only the administrative members also slew were knowing us. Oh, this is Balaji and Manisha, right? I've heard you a lot about you and Manisha. We were saying that you guys are very good and very, very proactive and all that. So we have spoken to our professors. We have picked them from the airport. That's how close we were, and this happened with us. So even more horrible to even realize that even though doing so much, we are being faced with this unfair treatment. So later, when we reached Bangalore airport at 12:30 in the night, but we came out at 5:30. That's 5 hours of immigration procedure. We are supposed to write a letter stating our experience, and they attached it to their passport, put a stamp, and sent us out. It was so horrible because right now what has happened with us? No, it's so like we are so clueless. Like it's registered in our passport that our visa was cancelled, and we have stamped in our passport that we are deported to India. So going to another country is horrible, and now if we have left our jobs, we are clueless what to do. So horrible for us, and it's beyond words to even explain. And when we were passing in the airport also, people were like giving us stares like, okay, have they done something illegal? Why are they being sent in through a police officer and all that? So yeah, this is what happened till the end.
Wow, it's a lot, Balaji. Those 3 forms that they made you sign, did you have an option not to sign those forms? I know they kind of intimidated into saying, hey, lifetime ban or not, but did you have an option not to sign those?
No. They're like, I have to sign it, or I was threatened that I'll be getting a lifetime ban if I don't sign it.
Yes, actually, we had an option. I'll tell you what happened to me also, like how Balaji had also gone through the process of DNA and fingerprints and signatures and all. So even I had to go through that. And first thing was the fingerprints and my DNA was taken, and then I had to do the signature on the 3 documents. First document was that you should tell the truth. So I was being honest with respect to my answers. So I was okay to sign it. So I did a signature on that. The second one, we violated the immigration laws. So I was like, so no, we didn't do that. So I was like, no, I didn't do that. And then the third one was that we are banned for the 5 years. I was like, sir, you can just talk to me. You can just consider to talk to me. And he's like, so either you sign or don't sign. I'm like, okay, I'm not signing. I told him I'm not. Then he took me back. He was on the way back to the cell. Then he threatened me saying that, see, because you didn't sign, it might lead to a very bad situation future. So yeah, then I had to sign, no, because it threatened me like it might be a huge thing later. So what will I do? I had no clue. I had to sign back again. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll sign it. So he became so angry. He started opening the door, smashing the door, and he was like, okay, fine, come. I'm like, okay, why is this person getting so angry for no reason? Then again, I went there, I signed, or then later I was sent back. And as Balaji said that he heard some higher officer talking to an Indian girl. It was actually me. I spoke to one of the officer, the lady officer. I told her, I started crying. I was like, give us a chance to talk. Please take this case because we are very legit students. We have all the proof. I started explaining her everything. See, we have come here with a lot of dreams with us. We have our parents who are also, put their effort, put their money and their energy, everything for our dream to be fulfilled. Then she's like, okay, fine, I will connect you to another higher officer. So around 1 o'clock a.m. That was the time he was about to pack and go. So that time he actually came. I was like, sir, can you please, consider about what is happening? See, I told him everything. Then he asked me where I am from and where I was going. And again, he asked me a few questions like that. Then I told everything. No, so this is the reason why I was going to SLU and everything I told. And then he was like, I literally went on my knees. I begged him. So please try to consider this. It's a huge thing for all the students are here. It's a dream just destroyed. So please try to consider this. So he's like, okay, fine. Tomorrow, again at 1 p.m. afternoon, I'll come because he was the one who was supposed to sign all the 15 cases which happened. He's like, okay, I will recheck everything and especially yours, I will check. He said, and then I just kind of felt like maybe there's some hope because he told that he would check. Then later, I waited, but then we were ultimately sent back. So everything, whatever we did, was they didn't even care to even check. See, even if they had gone through our documents, they were at least understood because we had carried everything, like literally everything.
John, in case they had not signed those 3 documents, do you think there would have been any difference in their cases if they had not signed that? I don't know. Just thinking through, just wondering what would have been the course of events in case they had decided against signing it.
So the lie in what they're saying to people is that sign it or you get a lifetime ban. What they're alleging is that you're trying to get an immigration benefit through fraud or misrepresentation. And that carries with it a lifetime ban. So by admitting to that and signing the document, you're getting a lifetime ban regardless. And so CBP, through their tactics in ICE, are lying to people, but they're banning them for life anyway, regardless of what they're saying.
So They're essentially just tricking people.
Yeah, you confess guilt by signing that document, so then they're covered. They can say, no, the person agreed that they were doing something wrong, and they don't tell anybody that matters that they're really abusing your rights, and they're lying and unlawfully coercing somebody to give a confession.
And you guys saw a lot of people in the rooms, right? Manisha, you saw I think one other person, and Balaji saw 7. Did you find any commonalities or common traits between you guys? Whether it was university, or do you know if they had gone to IDP as well, or did they decide to pay the first semester fees after coming? Just out of curiosity, did you see any common traits between you guys and them? And I'm sure when you met, you must have spoken, right? I mean, that's the only person you can share your problems with.
What I felt is, when from the talks they were having in between themselves, I just felt that they had mentally prepared themselves that they're gonna send. So I forgot to tell this one point, which is a very important point. My roommate traveled, the person who had shared my accommodation with me and Manisha. There was another 2 guys from Hyderabad as well. So one of the roommate traveled on 9th August through the same flight itinerary, through the same airport, that Atlanta airport, and he told me that, because I just asked how is the immigration check. I was just curious to know how is it. So no, bro, no, it was not much questions. I went to the Atlanta airport. They just asked me why you have come to US, which course and all that, and he sent me in. He just cleared my passport and sent me in. So I was like, okay, it's peaceful.
And did he pay the first semester fees? Did you know that?
No, because I told you, right, in the pre-webinar, the pre-arrival webinar, the dean of our college, she itself told that you don't have, because I was the person who raised that question. Is it okay if we don't pay the fees? Because actually there was a rumor in WhatsApp in Indian chats saying that a girl was sent back, there was a stamp on her passport, denied, and she was sent back to India because she had not paid her fees. So that's when people started telling us that, this was a month before, in July or June or July, they told that pay your semester fees before you go. That's when I started sending the mails. Yeah, because the university never guided us telling that you have to pay the fees. So that's when I started asking them. So I just asked a question in that pre-arrival webinar, ma'am, there was some chats in saying that the girl was sent back. I don't know if she was not from St. Louis, but she was sent back because she had not paid the semester fees, and so should we pay it? How should we pay it? No, Balaji, that's actually a rumor. She was not sent back because she had not paid her fees. It was for some other reason. I don't want to share it. Okay, ma'am, but how can we pay the fees now? Because we have our funds ready. No, you don't have to pay the fees. I had a doubt. What if they ask in the immigration? No, you don't have to. All in the embassy itself, your visa has been issued by the embassy. So they have checked all your documents. That's why they feel you're a legit person who's coming to us. That's why they granted your visa. You don't have to worry. They won't check all that in immigration. You don't have to worry. But to my bad luck, that had to happen with me and Manisha itself.
Balaji, the other 7 people in your room, did you understand if they had the same issues?
Most of the people in St. Louis had not paid the fees, all of them. All of the 10 people. So that was the one reason which everybody were denied. One reason was that. But other reasons, some people were telling that, they said that you all have come through some consultancy. That's why you have all scripted your answers. That's why you have cleared the interview. All that, they have same reasons. Yeah, but one person, they had a legit reason, because his passport, his visa was denied the second time. So in the third attempt, he cleared it. So because of that, they sent him back. So people before us, 1 week before us, have gone. And when we spoke to our professor, we are in constant touch with our professor, he told that after we were sent back and the news was spreading that this is happening with Indian students, St. Louis students started coming in. That's what he told. One of the students who came to the university, they told him, the student told that he was held for 6 hours, but then later they sent him, they allowed him entry to the US. So people, 4 days, those 4 days, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, all of them were sent back. But before and after, everybody were let in. So it's just a bad time at a bad day or a bad place. So it's my roommate itself was sent in with the same profile, but the same universities. I was not, me and Manisha were not sent in.
So Balaji, did you hear what the Department of Homeland Security told the Indian consulate the reason for this was?
Yeah, so actually that's one more horrible thing I forgot to tell you. So what happened is I told my father that write a mail, because I don't have my internet access, write a mail to the Atlanta embassy telling that all of this happened. Maybe they can help me somehow. So my father wrote a mail, and luckily it was so the Indian embassy was so proactive that they called my dad. He's from Atlanta embassy. So he called my dad, and he was so shocked because I had sent him a photo of what the passport, how it was. It was scribbled, cancelled. What the funny thing is, he couldn't even spell the word cancelled. There was a spelling mistake in that as well. So it was scribbled, cancelled, not a stamp. And later he was like, this is so horrible. Why has he scratched it like this? And later my dad explained him a little things, because I had not told all of this in detail. I just told these 2 reasons. So because of that, they were sent back. So he's no, this is completely wrong. They should inform the embassy before they send any student back, or they should inform the university. But none of them, both of those things were not done. And then he was telling that after one or 2 weeks. So this happened last week. So I was saying, sir, I was asking people around. They told that they need a document if you want to fight this case back and and prove that you're innocent, you need to get that document. What have they written? Why have they sent you back and all that, so that you can prepare counter arguments and proof saying that all of this is falsely accused and I'm not wrong at my side. But when he found the document, he told that I'll check and I'll get it from that US immigration. I'll check and get the document. You know what is a horrifying thing? They have put a false accusation on me, telling that apparently I have told them that I couldn't come on a B1 B2 visa. That's why I came in F1 visa. I am like, what is this? What is this bullshit even? Like, what are you even saying? I didn't even know there's a B1 B2 visa. I just knew there was a F1 M1 J1 and H1 B1, and they put a false accusation telling that I couldn't come in a B1 B2 visa. That's why I came in an F1 visa. And one more reason they have accused me is that I have not paid the fees, so that's why. And another reason was that I've gone through a coaching for the interview. It's against the immigration law. So these are the three statements mentioned in my document, which states why I was sent back.
And is it the same for Manisha?
No, but for Manisha, it was not mentioned regarding the B1 B2. But for me, it is mentioned. Like, I am like, why is this guy targeting me or something? I don't understand.
I'm at a loss for words. I just don't know what to say. Like,
and you know what's the cherry on the cake, John and Sanjay? Ever since this happened, right, I've been trying to look at forums to see if I could come across someone who had to go through this just to understand what happened, because the news articles were not very clear, right? And then I stumbled across Manisha's comment, right? She was brave enough to write a paragraph. Now, the sad thing, right, when you see that someone's gone through this, what's your first reaction? You feel sorry for them, you empathize with them, right? Especially since most of that forum was mainly for people who've been here. But the sad and the disgusting thing is that they're just getting hate after hate. Comments saying, you're here to fraud the system. You don't have documents in place. You're just here for off-campus employment. One after the other. I'm like, you can see that someone's already down and it's just kicking them more. One of the main reasons why I was like, and I've been bugging Balaji and Manisha, like, hey guys, can we chat? One of the main reasons was that it just bothered me so much. I was like, no, I want to give these guys a platform to like actually talk about the stories. And you can see how proactive these guys are. They spoke to their HODs, they spoke to the people there. The admissions office knew them. They've gotten an internship. And on top of it, the folks online just see it and have the audacity to just say, hey, no, these guys are here to defraud the system. For me, that was just the icing on the cake. Events what they had to go through was like freaking horrific, right? Now they've like put up with online hate as well.
No, that's just the cesspool of what the internet is and people's like, basal instincts are. It's been there ever since, I don't know, the internet started. But I don't know, I'm more cynical that way to assume people's good intentions, especially random folks.
Is there anything these guys can do, John?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think what they should do is they should have a targeted attack on the fraud finding. And it would be ideal if you could bring all of those students together in one case. They're all telling the exact same story. And it'll hit the judge and hit the judge's clerks is a pretty horrific story as well. And that's probably your best chance to get the fraud finding overturned, because factually the fraud finding is bogus. And the agency has lied to the consulate, it's lied to the public about what happened.
I don't know, is there an attorney that you would recommend who they can reach out to, or is that something that falls into your area? Can they reach out to you? I don't know, just wanted to give them a lead, something they can reach out to.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually just texting with Jesse Bless, who's a good friend of mine. He's an immigration litigation attorney as well, just asking him about if he wants to consider taking on this case with me, if the plaintiffs want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for now we can get the information and pass it on to you guys, and then you guys can, reach out and talk to John and John's colleague and take it forward from there. And then Sanjay and I are always here to help out and assist whatever ways we can. This was something we wanted to see, just give you guys a connection with John to see if any leads come out of it. But please reach out to John. He's a great resource. And then maybe set up a call. See if you can, like you said, get the other students also, because the larger the group is, the better it is for you guys. And then I definitely think you should pursue this further instead of just letting this slide, because it's injustice that's happened to you. And just don't take it lying down.
So there's a lot of protections that exist for the government at the port of entry in terms of protecting them from litigation. But there's a saying in law that bad facts or good facts make bad law, or good facts, or reverse that as well. What we have here is horrific facts. And I think that is enough to potentially sway a court that there is an exception to the general rule that you can't sue in this situation.
But I guess, that's a conversation, I guess, particularly for Manisha and Balaji. Maybe that's something you can discuss with you, John, and figure out what.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, it was good talking with you guys.
Thanks,
I gotta
John.
hop
Thanks for
off.
making time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and
Thank you so
thanks
much
you
for
guys
joining, John.
for taking this time for talking to us. Like, I'm honestly like I'm actually very angry.
The main thing what you're looking for is try to get that document, because the document it states why we were sent back and all that. Because until we get that, we can't fight back in any way possible, because we don't know what they have said. Because what I'm telling you was the reason which I felt, but what they have mentioned was different.
We went through the same journey, Balaji.
Yeah.
We went through the exact same thing, F1 and also St. Louis, like a lot of intersection points. And then we just felt like we had to try to do something, because for you guys to have resources to lawyers from India or to know who to reach out to from India will probably be a little difficult. And because we've kind of spoken to a bunch of folks here, we just wanted to help make some connections. Talk about your story, that in case there's someone in the future coming like this, they know that this is one horrific reality that could come true. Just wanted to educate them as well. But the main intention was just to help you both. Feel free to reach out to us anytime, guys. You guys have numbers. Just reach out whenever you want to talk or you need some assistance in anything.
And if it helps, like John was actually previously employed at USCIS, so he knows both sides of the government. He used to work for USCIS before getting fed up with the sort of discrimination that happens.
Thank you so much for even, taking the step and reaching out to us. So it's really great for me and Balaji also to come out of our thing and, tell other people what exactly happened. Because when there was a post in, I guess it was a page called It's Okay. Yeah. So in that post, I had put a comment what exactly happened, and I got so many hate comments saying that this was like, there was very bad comments like, you deserve this, you people have to be in India, you should not be in like US. Next level hate comments were there, like even they use slangs like, chuti, shit people you are. So I just want to tell those people out there, please stop spreading such things, because you were not in our shoes, we were in our own shoes, and we know what exactly happened there. So just tell those people to really stop putting such hate comments. And thanks to you both for taking up this podcast and reaching out to us. Thanks a lot. And thanks to John also.
One final thing, Manisha, you guys said this. One line just kind of stood with me, and I just felt really bad hearing it. How can we face people? Don't put your heads down, okay? It's not your fault. You guys did everything you could. You actually went more
Above and beyond.
You actually did more than most of the students, 90% of the students coming here. So never put your heads down. It's not your fault. Don't feel ashamed or embarrassed of it. Don't shy away from, oh, what do people think? No, it doesn't matter what they think. Screw them. You guys are stronger now. You guys went through something. You guys are doing this, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people will just keep quiet and just not do it. But you guys are bold and brave enough to do it. So props and kudos to you. And we all wish you all the best. All our prayers are with you as well. You guys will do well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sanjay and Rahul, like for contacting us and telling that you want to do a podcast with you, because we are trying to reach out to people because we want to prove that we are innocent. Because like Manisha said, when she posted things this is happening in social media, there are people giving hate comments and all that. So I don't want to prove it to them, because people will keep spreading hate. So I don't want to prove it to them, but I want to prove it mainly to the people who sent us back. That is the US immigration, that I am a legitimate student who has come to the USA to study, and I have all the documents to prove it. But they said I don't have it, but I'm ready to go to any extent to prove my innocence. It's going to affect our profile. It's a huge black mark. So anywhere we go, like future career prospects, like they want to send us to some different country, and then they'll be like, okay, so he was sent back from US, he was deported, so you have done something. And I just hope maybe somehow through you guys, some link, a small link also is a great favor. But what you're doing is also a great favor, because this also helps, whatever we explained, it also helps people to know that, okay, this is what happened with them, they deserve justice. Maybe some spread of word, somehow, some link.
And you had John, who is actually a reputed lawyer here, corroborate your facts, right? He confirmed what you said. He validated it, right? That's a big deal here as well.
Yeah, that's the very important, because we got some legal advice as well. Because us for talking, it will be like we are telling you, you are hearing about it, and you're giving advices from your end experience. But through John, we got a lot of information as well. So thank you for adding him, and again, thank you, John, for coming on the call and giving us this time.
Well, that was I'm still, I don't know, a range of emotions going over in my head right now.
I know. I was very impressed by how strong those two are. I mean, they were still holding themselves up with dignity. They walked us through the entire horrific chain of events without skipping a single piece of detail. If you notice, if one person forgot a piece of information, the other made sure that it was discussed so that we got the entire big picture. Kudos to those two. I hope no one else has to go through incidents like this. I hope they and the remaining students get the justice that they deserve. And I hope they get to pursue their dream of high education and the American dream. I really pray that they do.
Yeah. For sure. And like always, if this is only a small percentage of the cases that we come to know across, I feel like we are fortunate enough to connect with folks like these people that they could share their stories on our platform. We are very fortunate that way to get them. But there are so many people who don't have that opportunity. So if any of you who are listening feel that this connected with some part of your immigration journey here in the US, please do share it. Voice your concern on, how things can change. Every opinion counts, because that will change the system, and we'd love for you to do that.
Any other student, I know there were like 13 other students who had to go through this. If you happen to come across this episode and you guys want to share your experience as well, we'd be more than happy to have you guys as guests on another episode to talk through your experience as well. So please reach out. If anyone else had to go through an incident like this and want to have your story shared, reach out, because what Sanjay and I are trying to create here is just a platform for you guys to share your stories. We don't have any bias towards USCIS. We don't have any bias towards any government entity. There's no malice in anything that we're trying to do here. We want to create a platform because it's very difficult for your voice to be heard if you're a minority.
Yep.
A lot of people reach out to us and ask, hey, you guys are doing this. Are you targeting some against any government entity? We are not. We have no bias towards anyone, any government organization, any entity, any country, nothing. What we want to do is, we know how difficult it is being immigrants. We've been immigrants our whole life. We grew up in the Middle East. We've been immigrants there. Now we're immigrants here. We know how difficult it is for the voice of a minority to be heard. So our goal is that we want to create a platform where you can come on and share your stories. If it's good, if it's bad. Probably you've seen in previous episodes, if there's something good that's been done by USCIS or any other government organizations, we've made it a point to share it. We've made it a point to thank them for it and say that it's in the right step. This, unfortunately, it's just pretty horrific. And if newspaper articles or other media agencies are not willing to share it, this is a platform that we want to create for different people to come on and share the stories.
That's a wrap, folks. Please, as always, give us your feedback on your thoughts, anything and everything about what you've heard today. We'd love to talk about it. If you want to, get in touch with us to get more details about this, we'd love to do that as well. And as always, thanks for being subscribers.
Yeah, the energy is kind of low on this one, but you guys kind of understand why. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to catch you the next one.